with us. This is our first one,
Go.
so
Haha.
got you, brother.
How you doing?
Yeah, we already got a few people
So
on
I,
here.
I think yeah, I think I'm on side. I think
Yeah,
I don't
you're
know how it
like
appears. Yeah, let
sideways.
me let me just fix this.
All right,
There we go. Is
there we go. Yeah,
that working?
looking, yeah, looking good.
Haha.
All right.
Brother, congratulations on this new endeavor. I'm so proud of you. I think the world is going to be a better place. Uh, with you creating this incredible forum, this incredible space for veterans to reach out to you, to fellowship, to communicate, to share their stories, to heal, to love. This is an incredibly exciting new chapter, man, and I'm so proud of you.
Well, I tell you, brother, it's a labor of love. But before we get started, everyone that's on here, I just want to first off thank you guys for checking it out. And as we go, we'll get more technologically advanced and make it, I'd really like to, introduce you guys to my brother, man. I mean, he's not just a friend; he's a brother to me, and that's Stephen Graham. Some of you might recognize him. He's a actor, director, writer. He's a jack of all trades and really supports people like us. And it's just, I'm honored to have you on here as my first guest, brother, because to give you guys a little backstory on why we decided to do this, and I say we because, like I said, my brother Steven, you know, um, he's helped me with this every every step along the way, and it all started with an idea. A lot of you know the video I did back when Rory took his own life, and I was kind of pissed off about a lot of stuff and everything, but I wanted to get across to people like us that, hey, we have to get out there. We have to look deep within ourselves, and we have to be true to ourselves and step up and do something about these things that we're facing. And Stephen, what I say about the great thing about having a brother like Stephen is I can face things, by myself, but I can't face it alone. I have to take the step to do it, but I need help. And to have somebody like him in my corner to help make me realize that I have a story that, well, maybe can help some of you guys, and with the experience that I have and all the years of doing the crazy stuff that I did, we all have issues, man. We all have demons. You don't have to be a grunt to have demons, man. It's but you have to understand that you have to step up and fix it. And the idea behind Max Man Cave is I want guys to be on here and gals and people from all different walks of life to be real, talk about real stuff, and be here to answer your guys' questions. And that's what it's about. I want to be somebody for you to lean on and talk to, and I don't have all the answers, but I can talk to you, and I will be real with you. I'm going to be as transparent as I can always. And so really that's the idea behind it. Like I said, I'd had people tell me, I need to talk to more people and stuff like that. But the biggest thing, the biggest push from this was, I knew that something like this needs to be done, but I didn't I didn't understand, the effect that it could really have on people. And that's what Stephen has really helped me to come to terms with. And we're gonna do this, man. And we're here for you guys. And that's what it's about. This man cave, I call it a man cave, but it ain't just for men, it's for anybody. We're here for each other. So with that being said, like I said, I kind of went on a tangent, but I just want you guys to know that this guy truly is a brother to me and always will be. And to have him as the first guy on here to go live with you guys is just, it fills it up right here, man. That's what it's about. So I'm
Well,
gonna, I'm gonna turn it over to you, bro.
making me a little emotional here. It's a tremendous honor. I love you very much, and you posted a video. It was over a month ago that a lot of people responded to, and it was a beautiful thing. But as we've discussed, when I watched it, I was worried for you in a way of like, well, who's got your back, you
Yeah.
know? And that's a big part of this is that like I can only speak to this at a certain level because I'm a civilian, never been in combat, I'll never know what it's like to be in war. But I can certainly listen without prejudice. And I can certainly I feel very strongly that it's more important to listen to understand than it is to speak to be understood. And um, I think that there's a wonderful opportunity for somebody with your, leadership and what was it, 27
25
years,
years,
25
25.
years in, yeah, as a command sergeant major, when you got out, and beyond all the stories and the experiences that you've had just as a leadership role, you're used to, taking 19-year-olds into combat and being responsible for them to their parents. I mean, what greater responsibility?
Yeah, there's not
And
one.
yeah, I I feel like, to have this platform for you is very important because you're one of the most open-minded, loving souls that that despite your experiences and all the things that you've been through, that you have this like wonderful loving heart that you know needs to be shared with the world. um, so having said that, it's a truly an honor to be your first guest, to be the first civilian. I don't take that lightly. It's a great honor. um, so I'll share with everybody how how we met, and then how you came to be a very pivotal. Uh, I think we're having an issue. There we go. It might have been your
Yeah.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Um, Helicopters for Heroes. 3 or 4 years ago, we met, and we kicked it off. We stayed in touch, and a couple years ago, I had a family member who's a combat veteran fall on some hard times, and we had to get him to treatment. And having gone through this for the first time, I mean, I had lost some of my brothers, unfortunately, to suicide, veteran brothers of mine. But there wasn't a lot of resources out there. I mean, you can Google these things to try to find out, like, where's a bed open? What do I do? And it's crisis mode, right? You're trying to make quick decisions and make the right decisions. You were one of my first phone calls, and I told you my situation. I said, this is very serious. We got to find him treatment. And luckily for me, having you in my life, you had mentioned the Eisenhower Center in Michigan, and we can get into what your connection is to that. Uh, at this point, I'm cautiously optimistic, but there is a happy ending to this story, that my family member did do a 30-day treatment. He's in a much healthier place. We're all so proud of him. And it really opened my eyes to the support system that's necessary to get these things done, and get them done quick. Like you can have 24, 48 hours to make these decisions, and to get somebody help depending on how dire the situation is. So I thank you so much, because a big part of him agreeing to go was his relationship with you when we had done honor flight together. And he respected your decision, and your insight, your advice on it. And if you could just share with everybody what your relationship to Eisenhower Center was with one of your guys.
Well, I tell you guys, a lot of when I first retired out of the Army, I was doing a lot of stuff with the Independence Fund, and they at the time they were partnered with the Eisenhower Center, and I'd never heard of it, didn't understand what it was, and I actually went out there and checked it out, and it was it was such a cool experience to see that there was a place like this, that guys like me, I did 25 years in the Army. I have no clue that these places exist. Um, Basically, they take wounded veterans, first responders, uh, NFL football players, all these people, police officers, bring them together and put them into this program. and it's about understanding that you're not alone in the fight that you're fighting, and you're not your situation is not unique. It may be different, but it's not unique because a lot of us are going through the same things. We just a lot of times we feel like it's just us. And with that being said, I really thought that it was a great program. And a couple weeks later, after I went there, um, I was doing a Spartan race with a bunch of my guys, wounded guys, and I needed a couple guys to help me get some of the amputees and all through the race. So I called one of my buddies that I hadn't spoken to in probably 3, 4, well, I guess a couple years, and and I called him up. He came wholeheartedly to help me out, and then within that weekend, just being around those guys and being around me, he opened up, and and he was lost. He was in a place he didn't know where to go, and he asked me, what do I do, man? How can I get out of this place? He's like, you calling me was for a reason, and and before I get into what happened, I'll tell you what I tell a lot of guys is, if you're feeling good, man, reach out. It's not just about us having issues calling somebody else. Sometimes you just talking to one of your old buddies, your old
Hmm.
friends, it'll spark something, and they'll need help. But anyway, I talked to him about that program, about how I could get him in there ASAP, and I knew that it would help him get on the right path and understand, that he did have purpose and he did have a reason for being here and that he could help people. And anyway, he wound up doing the program. I went out and visited him, and since has done nothing but work in the nonprofit sector to help other guys. And the point behind it is if you trust somebody and you know that they are there for you, you're gonna accept the help, man. And it's hard to, and it's hard to
Hmm.
open up, but what it's about is knowing that, it's kind of like our community now as veterans, in the job world or everything else, it's all about who you know.
Hmm.
And a lot of it with us is, if somebody doesn't have buy-in or tells me this is really worth it and it's going to help me, then they're going to have hesitations. So, um, like I said, when you hit me up about him, Stephen, the only thing I could think of, because he was kind of in the same situation as my other brother, was I knew that place, because it's different.
Hmm.
It's not about living in a hospital bed or any of that stuff.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
living amongst people that you would never think had the same struggles and same problems you do, out away from everything on a farm, and just
Hmm.
understanding that, you know, it's not unique to you. It happens to the best of us, regardless of your
Hmm.
background or what you're doing. And and what they really try to do is empower people to understand that you have to step up and make the decision to help yourself, and
Yeah.
that you by what I'm saying is, like, people who serve others, they don't owe anybody anything. They owe it to themselves. Once they're done serving, you've done your part. Your debt is paid. Now you owe it to yourself to fix yourself, and that's why any of these programs that are out there that are like that, I support. And and as we go on with this, I would love for people to hit us up about certain programs, because there's no cookie cutter
Hmm.
answer out there with
Yeah.
what's going on, and
Yeah.
that's
And there's so much too that people don't understand. That's like, as you're trying to make these decisions and make them quick because you're in crisis, there are
yes,
certain facilities you pay out of pocket. It could be $40,000 for a 30-day program that you get the bill for. So think about
yes,
the added stress to the family, people that don't have that kind of money. And then there's programs like Eisenhower Center that you can pay through the VA, and
yeah,
that it's covered. And these things are important, even knowing like what is their availability.
yeah,
In some instances, it's like a hotel. How many beds are available? Then they have to figure out, are you compatible to be with that group of people? So, for instance, at Eisenhower Center, there was an NFL player there who was
yeah,
retired, who had a lot of traumatic brain injury, didn't know what was going on. He was, brain was telling him all these different signals. He didn't know why he felt a certain way. Um, I believe, there was a nurse. There's a triage nurse who'd been through a lot of trauma. So these programs, our aim not just for
Yeah,
veterans. It's a very eclectic group of people usually. But anyway, I can't thank you enough for that. I certainly know that he appreciates you, appreciates your guidance on that as well. And I'm just feel very blessed that we were able to get him that treatment and that we had that support system, because I think about all the veterans out there that don't have that support system. There is no one to
yeah,
call. Maybe it's just a toll free number, which is still a great start,
yeah,
uh, for crisis prevention center. But to not have family members that are able to come together and help make those decisions collectively,
yeah,
or network. So again, on that note, I think that this will be a great platform, and people need to understand that, not all of this has to be public, that you're very open to discussing in private with people
yeah.
any of their issues, that it doesn't have to be in a public forum for them.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
about it's about I want to be open for you guys, and those of you who watch this or hear this once we post it later, you guys know that, especially the ones that knew me in the military, I was a hard dude, but but I had to come to terms with the fact that I was not okay, you know.
hmm
No, everybody could tell me all day long, but until I looked deep inside myself and said, "Hey, there's an enemy there that I need to face," then nothing was happening. And I understand that I'm not, I was not the kind of guy that was just going to reach out to somebody, because
hmm
we're taught to not do that. And the reason I want to be here for you guys is I want you to know that, dude, it's okay, man. It's okay. It doesn't mean that you're damaged goods or anything like that. We're just people, man. We did a job that we loved and we served, regardless of what it was. Like you said, it could have been a nurse, it could be bus driver. It doesn't matter what it
that's
is.
right.
The stresses of life hit everybody,
hmm
and you can deal with those stressors, man. But you have to face them. You can't put them on the back burner and just wait for it all to pile up. And then when it does, it's just too heavy, and that's when we really have the issues. And then the other thing, like you said, is we need to understand that we do have people out there that do care. I hear all the time guys would be like a guy would tell me about you, Stephen. He'd never understand what I've been through. Okay, maybe not,
hmm
but he would listen to you, like you said, without prejudice. You're
hmm
empathetic. You want to hear. You want to take some of that weight off from them, and that's people's family, and that's everything. So that's the idea behind this.
hmm
I want to be that guy for you guys, and
hmm
I'm not a psychologist or any of that stuff. I'm just an old beat up dude, but I've dealt with a lot of kids, and my office towards the end of my last few years in the Army, I may as well have been a psychologist, because every evening my door had people lined up, and that's what it's about. Is it's about being here for each other.
Yeah,
But I mean, with that said, though, I have to tell you, we're here for each other, but I can't be here for you if you're not here for yourself, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
Absolutely. I think
Yeah,
that a lot of times people, especially in the civilian world, underestimate uh, how far compassion can go, empathy. It's not feeling sorry for somebody. It's not having pity for somebody. It's listening.
yeah,
That's a first great step. And um, I know that, a lot of especially active duty service have told me uh, they're not a big fan of being in an airport and having someone come up to them and saying thank you for your service. And I say to them, for a lot of civilians, that takes a lot of courage. If
yeah,
they're like intimidated, or they don't know how to say thank you, right?
yes,
And the best response I can give to that is, the best way you can say thank you is to listen. You can start with, how are you?
yeah,
That's a huge first step, you know? And I feel like, on that note, that's very much, again, the platform and the space that you're trying to create here. Um, I'll share with everybody before we get Nate Boyer on here.
Big
I'll
Nate.
share, yeah, I'll share with everybody, our experience together in January. So I recently wrote and directed a film that I cast Mac in. And when I write, I always like to write with people in mind. It just helps inform my writing. And you were one of my very first phone calls. And I think I called you. I was on the East Coast. I'd gotten the okay. The financing was, getting in place, locations and everything. And I think I called you at like 12:30 in the morning. And I didn't realize what time it was because I was so excited. Like, hey, I know you've never acted before, but I really want you to be a part of this, brother. And and I don't want to give too much away of your character. You play Wayne Cotter. Is a drifter in the film, and there's a huge plot twist pertaining to your character. But you were tremendous, and I'm so grateful that you trusted me, having never done something like this before. It's not, a lot of people think it's an easy gig.
Not at all.
You put 50 people behind a camera and they're all staring at you and you call action and you got all eyes on you and you were a natural and I appreciate it. And I think people are really going to resonate with your performance. And on that note, I founded Team House Studios with Nate Boyer, and it was a production company that we had been discussing for a while, that we wanted to create an opportunity for veterans to work in front and behind the camera. And so the movie is The Secret of Synchrony, that we're just in post-production right now, but we had the good fortune to hire, I believe it was 11 veterans and one Gold Star sister. And so as we progress with future productions, we want to be able to expand that. We're a production company that's diverse, gender equality, culture, creed, religion, whatever your background is, whatever your walk of life. If you come at the job, you work hard, you're part of the team. I do give Nate Boyer credit for naming it. A team house is a military term. I thought he was trying to name it that way, knowing that I was originally born in Canada and that I would say a hoose. And every time I tried to say the company name, Team Goose. But we're very proud of what we've built. It's only our first production. It's a partnership with Truth Media Ventures, which is run by Joe Newcomb, who is who's the executive producer of Dallas Buyers Club that won a bunch of Oscars. And it's just been a tremendous undertaking and a tremendous experience. And we hope to employ more veterans and Gold Star family members in the future.
Yeah, it
On
was
that one.
an honor to be a part of it, and it was a lot different than anything I ever expected. I expected it to be different, but it was really different. It was very challenging, and the great thing about it though is it almost felt like being deployed again and being around the boys, like being in a group
Mm-hmm.
and they're living together, working together every day. It was amazing. And guys, like I tell you, man, like Steven's a brother of mine. I would have done anything for him. I was scared. I ain't gonna cuss, but I was scared crapless, man. Like I didn't know, because like I said, I never acted before. I don't know anything, but it was an amazing experience. And what Steven and Nate are doing with this team house and the guys that were there,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, to bring people like us together. It's
Mm-hmm.
always it's such a good thing, because hell, some of us didn't even know each other, and it's just like anything else.
Yeah.
When you bring like-minded individuals together, they just mesh and they understand each other, and it's like you've known each other for years. So it
Yeah.
was a amazing experience, man, and I can't thank you enough for that. And I think people are gonna love it. Like,
Yeah.
not so much me, but the script itself. It's just amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you were wonderful in it, man, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you for trusting me. And, I would say the same with Nate. I directed Nate, and Nate plays the lead detective in it. And I'm so grateful to him for trusting me, not only with the story, but, trusting him as his director. I think he's also given a tremendous performance. I'm so proud of the work that he's done as well.
Yeah.
So with no further ado, as Nate's hype man, Woo, woo.
All
I'll I'll hand it over to Nate. And I can't say it again. I can't say it enough, Mac. I'm so proud of you, brother. I love you, man. And this is the beginning of some great things. And I've always got your back. Always got your
right.
back, brother.
Well, I love you too, brother. And for those of y'all on here, just stand by for a minute. I gotta hit Nate up so I can get him on here.
All
But
right.
anyway, love you,
Be
brother.
good. All
All
right.
right.
Take care, man.
Take care. All right. Now I'm waiting on Nate, guys. He'll be on here in a second. Here he comes.
Yo,
Nate.
what's up, bro?
Hey, brother.
Dude, I
Hey,
got this ring light thing, and it's too bright. I don't even
yeah,
think I need it. I'm trying to, get the right
I,
lightness.
I mean, I think you look good, man. Before we
Yeah, but
started, I had
you
Steven
don't
go
have an
through.
eye for beauty, man. You
No, I
know.
don't. Not at all. Not at all. But you look good, man. Hey, so for everybody on here, like I said, man, we have Nate Boyer on here. I mean, we know who Nate is, but I got to tell you, man, like, um, first off, it's an honor to know you and call you friend, brother. Like the way you've taken care of me since, that movie and us getting to know each other and living together for a month was just, it
Oh
was cool
man,
as shit. Yeah, that was a crazy house, but, I'm so honored, man, that you're supporting me on this, and it really helps out a lot. And a lot of people look up to you, man. And for the first one, I really wanted you and Steven because really, like the last year of my life has been one of the toughest I've had since I've been out. And you know, like you guys, man, you brought me in and made me family, and stuff like that just helps, man. It helps you like realize that, hey, dude, shit ain't that bad. We're still here for each other, man. We can get through it. So yeah, man.
that's what the team house is all about,
Yeah,
though.
exactly.
Like when
Exactly.
you're for those that don't know that are on here, when you're on deployment, and that's what they call the garrison or the rear or the whatever.
Yeah, the rear
Whether
D.
it's a whether it's a some kind of people call it team house, even if you're on a bigger military installation. It's like it's where your squad's at. It's where your group's at. You sleep there. Those are your brothers in arms. They become your real brothers overseas. And we had the literal team house. I can't remember what street it was on, but
Yeah,
out there in Irving, Massachusetts, and we go to set, and you got all that stuff, you got all that crazy stuff going on with the movie, and it's like a military operation. It's not like combat, but it's like
yeah,
a
but
training
it's
operation, like how much everything's going on. Then you go back to the house, and you bitch about stuff, you laugh
yep,
about stuff. That's what you do.
yeah,
That's what we did in the military. So it's really cool to have that vibe.
yeah, brother. Like it was amazing, and like I wanted, I'm so like I said, man, I'm so glad you decided to do this with me live. Because the ones going forward will pre-tape a lot, but I wanted people to talk to you, and just talk about you and Steven and where you're going with Team House, and what you guys did for me and what you guys continue to do for everybody. I mean, with you, man, people see what you do daily with emerging veterans and players and everything, and all the other stuff you do. I mean, hell, what were you doing? Just climbing a mountain last week, something like that,
Yeah, yeah. I went up and did. I keep calling it Mount McKinley, which is completely wrong. That's now Denali in
Yeah,
Alaska. It's Mount Whitney, which is the largest or the tallest continental U.S. tallest mountain in continental U.S. 14,500. So went out there with a couple of vet buddies, and what do we do the whole time up the mountain? We laughed and we bitched about stuff.
yeah.
So
It's
no,
good
it
for
was
the
awesome.
soul.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was great. So yeah, doing that, but yeah, with the movie thing, like growing up, I always wanted to be a pro athlete. That was like my dream and my goal, right? It's something I just truly loved. And as I got through high school, realizing it's probably not a likelihood, not a likely reality, I should say, just because I wasn't a great athlete. I was a hard worker, but not a great athlete. And and it didn't work out obviously initially, and then went into the military and what I learned there about just grit and sacrifice and relentlessness, and attrition.
yeah,
Basically, like the ones that make it are just the ones that don't quit, period. They just keep
Period.
going, you know?
Yep.
And then, so I got that opportunity. You know, I got to play college football. I got to play in one game with the Seahawks, but I made that dream come true. Well, I got like 100 other American dreams that I want to follow, and that's the only thing that makes me happy is chasing them. And so the next one for me was, you know, was film and TV, making movies, man. It's like
Yeah.
telling our stories the right way eventually as well. Like, obviously, this wasn't a veteran story, but, you know, Steven's written a really powerful and important veteran story that will get told at some point. I'm working on some of those things as well. I know a lot of other people, veterans and civilians, that are taking the time to do it right, tell the stories, or at least capture the stories correctly, but having trouble getting them out there, getting them made. And, you know, that's what I want to be a part of. And this was the first feature film that you know, that I worked on from a, you know, producer level, and seeing like from script to screen, all the stages and steps and what the hoops you have to jump through, and, you know, how you beg, borrow, and steal to make things happen. It's just like, that's how you make mission in the military, man. Same thing.
Truth. Absolutely.
It's cool, man. It was just awesome to have you too. Have you and like all the other vets in various roles in front of them and behind the camera who had never worked on films either. And we just like figured it out. It's like, oh, you know, not that it's not hard. It's definitely challenging.
Yeah.
But there's something different about us. Like, we'll figure it out, man. You know, we'll read the manual. We can read the manual. It's all good.
Yeah. I mean, we could improvise, you know, but yeah, man, you know, for me, it was just, like I said, dude, finally getting to know you and, you know, becoming friends and brothers and understanding, you know, what you're about, and, you know, getting to live with you and stuff, you know, and really understanding
Getting
your
to or
story.
having to live with me.
Yeah, but dude, I've never been a fanboy for, like, you know, the famous military guys, you know, because I was a sergeant major. I never really, and, you know, I'm like, those dudes are popular on Instagram and all that stuff, but I've got to know quite a few of the guys who are like the real deal, and you're definitely one of them. And like I said, man, you motivate people, but you're who you say you are. Like, what you see is what you get. And in this world, in our world today, that's rare, man. And you know, and the idea behind this, man, and I mean, I know Steven talked to you about it. I've talked a little bit, is, you know, we have so many brothers and sisters that have so many issues daily, and, you know, a lot of them think they're alone or they don't know how to reach out and all this stuff. But it's like, hey, dude, every one of us is jacked up in some way, shape, or form. But we have to step up and do something about it. Like, you can't fix me, Nate. I can't fix you. If you got some issues, you have to say, look, man, I'm jacked up. I got to step up. But with that being said, when I'm able to understand that, then guys like us can help you get through it. And that's the whole point behind this, is I want to have people like us who have some life experience, who, you know, can tell people there's going to be challenges, man, from the stuff you've seen, what you've done, but you can get through it. You know, it's you can live with it. And so that's the idea behind Max Man Cave, brother.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to be here, and I want to have real people to talk, just talk, be out there for people. And then, you know, and I want to be here for the people that see us. And as this grows, hopefully, you know, they want to reach out. You know, maybe they don't want to be public about it, but they'll reach out to me and say, hey, look, or maybe even, you know, just you and I talking or whatever. Somebody might hear something and they never say anything about it, but, you know, it may affect them. And then they're like, oh shit, you know, I need to take a step back, man, you know, and that's what this is about, man. So,
you know, Jay Glazer, who co-founded MVP with me, right?
Yeah.
He's a civilian, not in the military. And
Exactly.
What I've had to let go of and learn through these I got out 5 years ago, right? Is that there's great value in what people with completely different experiences of mine have to say and what they've been through, and that there is a lot of similarities in struggles. And that's what MVP is all about, you know, merging veterans and players. Yeah. It's like combat vets, former professional athletes. We would never compare combat, I should say, the battlefield to the ball field. Like, those are totally different. The stakes are not the same. Everybody understands that. We're not trying to say that's the same. But the struggles with identity, the transition, purpose, feeling like you'll ever do anything as important as you did before, and most importantly, the camaraderie, the locker room, you know, the brotherhood, that's gone, and it's really hard to replace.
Yeah.
And something that Glazer always says, and you're alluding to it with your jacked upness. He always says, man, first and foremost, you have to embrace your effed upness. You know, and I
Yeah.
won't drop the F bomb on here because we're live, and I don't know if there's kids watching, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Embrace that. And it doesn't just mean like, oh, well, I guess I'm effed up, so you know, nothing I can
Yeah.
change about that. No, no, no. Understand that like you're different than everybody else. That effed upness is just it's just against the status quo. It doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? We just have a different outlook on things. We've experienced and seen things other people will never experience and see,
Yeah.
and it's going to affect you and shape you in some way. But like, utilize that, use that to get ahead. You know, use that to towards whatever you're doing next. Like that's all fuel, and that's
Yeah.
all. Like you've survived. We've all survived some rough stuff, whether it's overseas or back home. So you've survived it. You're still here. Like there's a reason you're still here. There's a reason you're capable of getting through that. You're absolutely capable of doing whatever the hell you want to do. Making a movie, you know, being whoever you want to be. It doesn't matter. And I think we pigeonhole ourselves way too much because we listen to other people. You know, we listen to all the people that tell you can't do something or whatever. They're either the ones
Yeah.
that are too afraid to try or they've already quit, you know, and they're just
Yeah.
like, they don't want to see somebody else succeed.
Yeah. Well, it's like, man, it's like, like me being an old guy, like even when I was in the army, guys would ask me, or even now that I'm out, I still work out and do everything, buddies would be like, why do you put yourself through that? Because, man, I have to challenge myself daily because that's how I face that's how I face that crap that challenges me inside, and it's like you said, you use it for fuel, but if you let it consume you and you don't take ownership of it and you own that shit, then it's gonna come back and it's gonna hurt you. And that's the whole thing is, like, dude, we're like you said, none of us are right, but
Yeah.
we're still humans, and we can push forward, man. And you use it, and that's what you got
Yeah.
to. But to use it, you have to face it, and that's the problem too. Is like you said with transition, when we get out, nobody, and it's guys like me that are guilty of this. Guys like me that make it to where I was in the army, we don't teach those younger guys how to cope with being a civilian and how to transition. Like, because once you're out, it's like high five. You got your award.
It's
All
all
I got to
about
do,
retention in the
yeah,
military,
I got
bro.
to fill
You
the
know what I mean?
slot. Yeah, I got
It's
to fill the
retention.
slot.
Yep.
And we don't do a good job of that. But at the same time, you've learned so much in the military on how to thrive and how to push through. I mean, look at all the crap you got to deal with on a daily basis. You can deal with stuff,
Right.
and like you said, you might not have the camaraderie and all anymore, you think, but you do because we have platforms like this, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I've sit here a couple times with some of my buddies that I haven't, that are Texas and other places on Zoom getting drunk, talking, just BSing, man, because we have technology now. So you're not, yeah, you may be back home and your buddies ain't around, but you still got a crew around you, man. And
Right.
and then when you can, like you said, man, when you can bring a crew of guys together, like you and I never served together or anything, but as soon as we met each other, we're freaking,
We
we're,
got a shared experience, and we know
yeah,
that, you know,
yeah,
and that's another thing. Like, you know, we're talking about, you know, embracing jacked upness, effed upness, whatever you want to call it. The reality is, it is very normal, our reactions to these things. Like, you know, that's what post traumatic stress or
yeah,
whatever you want to call it. It's a normal reaction to abnormal circumstances. So
yeah,
like everybody has to understand all those things you're feeling, they're normal. And as a human being, combat or not, uh, you're supposed to feel pain. You're supposed to have moments of sadness. We all experience loss, you
yep,
know, death of people close to us, um, uh, uh, you know, hatred, anger, fear,
yeah,
self-loathing. Those are all like, that's every human has those things and experiences those things. It's just that understanding or realization that, like, you know, life is an EKG or a roller coaster or whatever, and like knowing that when I'm at my highs, when things are going great, not that like I should have this impending doom of like, oh, you know, something terrible is going to happen next, but just understanding like right now this is great, but I gotta be aware of that and manage that, because either something is gonna happen, or maybe I just wake up on the wrong side of the bed, or
Yeah,
I think about something that triggers me. It's gonna be back down here. But then when I'm back down here, it's just knowing, remembering, okay, last week or whenever it was, like I was feeling pretty good. What was I doing different? What was I thinking about different? Who was I hanging out with, different? That kind
exactly.
of got me back there. And it's just that awareness of self, that a lot of us that everybody struggles with too. That's hard to do,
Yeah,
but just remembering that, and and then remember that you're never alone.
yeah.
Social media is a dangerous thing, but it's also a really powerful thing, and can really bring people together. So
Yeah, it can, brother. And like I say, yeah, we saw stuff that human beings ain't supposed to see, but guess what? We were trained for it, you know. Um, and like you said, we all, regardless of if we're bang bang shoot 'em up guys, or like I said, we're a bus driver, cop, nurse, fireman, hell, person works at a grocery store. It doesn't matter. We're, like you said, we're human beings, and we're going to have all those emotions. And then some of us carry more than others. But the point is that we can carry it. We can do it. But like you said, you have to just say, hey man, all right, this was awesome. I need to get back to this, but I need to get back to it. Like you can't do it for me. And that
right,
and that's a lot of the problem too. Is a lot of I think with a lot of guys and gals that get out of the military, maybe even the police officers, but it's like there's not a lot of senior guys getting out telling them that, hey, I got the same crap going on that you got, but I'm dealing with it, man. I'm not gonna let it consume me, man. We all have dates from brothers that are gone or whatever, and it hurts. And we're all trained to feel like everything's our fault and we're responsible for it. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that everything you did in the past is the past, and it's all about moving forward. And like you said, getting to those goals that you want to get to and continuing to challenge yourself. And if you do that, then that transition is going to be easier because you are giving yourself purpose. And because I hear it from a lot of the younger guys is, I don't have purpose anymore. Yeah, you do. What do you want to do? Where do
yeah.
you want to be? And
Well,
I even,
that's the best way to honor those guys, man.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
if you if sadly, Mag, if you passed away, man, if you left this world, how would you want me to live my life? What would you want me to do to honor you? What would be the best way? Just
I would
throw
want
it
you
out
to
there.
live for you, man. I would want you to understand that it ain't about me, man. It's about you. Because if you live your life to the best of your ability, then you're honoring me, man. Because over there, I fought for you to have the right to do that and live it however the hell you want. But that's what I want you to do is live because, the way I look at it, for example, like a guy like me or you, if, like, for example, if I off myself tomorrow, then I just made some guys that look up to me think that, hey, if he can't hack it, where am I going to be in a couple years? So that's the other thing. Like you said, we have to understand that we owe it to ourselves to live. But if we do that, then we're helping our brothers understand the same thing. And it's all about, like, it's hard. I did a Zoom with my company from the Argandab a few weeks back, and I told a lot of those guys, I was like, it's hard to hear that you don't owe anybody a damn thing. You only owe yourself, man. And that's hard for people to understand because, like we're taught, man, like when we're out there in the ground in Afghanistan, Iraq, your team, my squad, my platoon, I owe those guys every step of the way because if they don't do their job, I'm going to die, is what I'm thinking and what they're thinking. And I owe them every day to give 110% to make sure that I do my job so they don't die. But then once all that's over, I owe myself because if I take care of myself and I get myself right, then I can still help take care of those guys. But if I
Yeah,
don't get myself right, then I'm not helping anybody. And by get yourself right, I'm not saying we're broke, damaged goods or any of that crap. But we all have, like you said, man, we all have that those days, man. but those days are
We have that responsibility,
yeah,
bro. Like people talk
yeah,
about survivor's guilt a lot,
yeah.
and it's definitely a very valid thing, man. It's a real thing.
It
I
is.
get it, but there's also survivor's responsibility. You know,
That's the best way to say it, man.
you have a responsibility to those people that don't get to come home to mama. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And you have a responsibility to oftentimes live out the dreams that they had. You know what I mean? Do the things
yeah,
they always wanted to do that they didn't get to. It's up to, like, that is your duty. And then, as you said, all those things that you want to do, all those things that
yeah,
make you happy, like that's all they would want. You know, you have to commit to that. And you have to do that. If you're not doing that, it's a slap in the face. And by taking your own life, that doesn't erase any pain, bro. It just
no,
passes it on. It just passes it on, and it's terrible. And I, you know, I would love to talk to any soul
yeah,
that has done that, you know, because I've had a former girlfriend do it. I've had you know, veteran buddies do it. Just people I know, and it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away, and that's a really hard thing to, I think, to maybe fathom and understand when you're probably in those darkest moments,
yeah,
you know, because you feel like the world would be better off without me, but it's absolutely untrue. You know, it
yeah.
is untrue.
Well, it's like you said, man. Like for me, for example, you know, I didn't realize the guilt I had for some of the things until I actually took a step back and looked at it, you know, and faced it. You know, there were a couple guys that I felt in my heart, and I never realized I did this to myself because I forced myself to not be happy, man, because I
You
felt
felt
like,
guilty. You probably felt
yeah,
guilty.
yeah, I felt like because of the way I pushed them or what I said to them before they died, you know, it was my fault. And but then when you look back on that in our community, that's what we're taught to think that way because if I don't do my job, you die. I mean, straight up. If
Yeah.
you don't do your job, it's usually not you that dies, it's your buddy. And when something happens, you know, we all rationalize it by we should have did this, we should have done that, we should have blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, what you got to understand, man, is bad shit's going to happen. And like you said, there are going to be bad times. And yes, you're going to always have that guilt there, but you can understand that that guilt actually is fuel that you could keep to keep you alive to understand that I owe them, like you said, to keep pushing, man, to keep doing these things because you know, like I'll say it like Brunk, man, he's one of my best squad leaders. I love that kid so much. You know, the last time I talked to him, I totally just destroyed him, you know? And in my mind, he put himself out there and he got taken out. And it took me so many years to finally face the fact that, you know what? Brunk died doing his job, doing what he was supposed to do. And no matter what I said to him or anything like that, that was going to happen, you know? And that's the hard thing for guys to understand. And then the other piece to it is there's not a lot of guys like you and I, man, telling these guys that stuff, you know, like, dude, man, like yes, you owe them, but more importantly, you owe yourself because that's what they want you to do, man. They want you to live for you, man. And you know, you have to understand that. Like even me, man, I got a wife and beautiful girls, and for the longest time, you know, and they're still my priority, but I had to understand that if I don't face and live for me, then am I going to be a happy old guy with my family that they're going to want to be around? You know,
Right.
like I tell people when they ask me who I want to be, I don't want to be Clint Eastwood on Gran Torino. You know what I mean? The old angry vet.
Not
And
until the end.
yeah, the end's
yeah,
badass. But you know what I'm saying? Just because
yeah.
that shit's
Yeah,
tiring, man.
bitter, alone,
Yeah,
tired, you know, just
yeah,
pessimistic about the world. Like that's a dangerous place to be. And like I think part of this too, you know, makes me think about the whole suck it up and drive on culture,
yeah,
which there's a time and a place for that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, oh, we shouldn't suck it up and drive on,
yeah,
but there's also a time and a place and an understanding that, you know, there's more strength in vulnerability and admitting, especially as a senior leader, admitting that stuff's hard sometimes and you're going through it.
Yeah.
even to your guys. And like, that's not a popular thing. It's, you know, people are like, oh, you can't show weakness to your squad. It's like, it's not weakness though. That's
No,
strength.
it's
Saying, hey,
strength.
sometimes I get in my own head and I deal with stuff and I feel, you know, I feel guilty and I feel like I could have done this and I didn't and that happened and it's my fault. And it's just not the truth. You know, we make decisions in life and almost every time, especially in combat situations, after the way we've been trained, we're making the decision in that moment that we think is the best for the entire team. We're doing the
Exactly.
best that we can. And things happen that we cannot control in life.
Yeah.
And it's hard for us to not recognize that because we're type A's and we feel like we are in control of everything. And it's not the reality. So like, first of all, it's that recognition of like, I guess, an admittance of human nature. You know what I mean? Of
Yeah.
saying like that there are times, guys, especially these young guys, like there's a time when I don't feel like I've done my best, or I don't feel like a sergeant major right now, you know, and I feel like I could have
Yeah.
done better. And like, but there's also times where I'm really proud of the crap I've done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, so that's just life. And even the Spartans, man, years and years ago, thousands of years ago, they had a mandatory grieving period after combat. You know, and why did they
Yeah.
do that? Why did they do that? Because they understand the scars, the external scars, and the pain that goes into living through trauma and combat situations.
Yeah.
So you have to weep, man. You have to talk about it with other people, and you have to like, you have to grieve. You have to let yourself grieve and let yourself feel those things. It's the only way to get them out of there. They don't go away. Just like the
Nope.
pain passed on suicide, that pain that that you have inside, you can't just like tough it up and build scar tissue around it, man. It's still there and it's stronger than all that scar tissue. It's gonna find a way out.
Yeah, it's
Somewhere.
gonna come out.
Exactly. So
No, man. I'll tell you, the guys that know me, I was a callous, I was a callous son of a bitch sometimes because I had to be, because that's what you got to do as a leader in the Army. Like I tell guys,
there's a time and a place. Like I
yeah,
said, there's a time and a
yeah.
place. You know?
But I tell guys, like you got to understand is leadership, like even as a young team leader, is a lonely place. But everybody in the military at some point, some way, shape, or form is a leader. But what we're not taught as leaders is what I remember my battalion commander told me when I was a first sergeant. One of my guys got killed the day after Christmas, and I was doing a memorial ceremony out in the shitty cop we were at. And he's like, Mac, you boys need to see you cry. And I told him, sir, I can't do that. Because in my mind at that time, because of the fight we were in, I felt like if I did, I was letting them down. Because the whole time I was in the Army, like you said, I was taught to suck it up and drive on. And that's the way I knew how to teach these guys. And I never grieved, man, until I retired. And you are 110% correct. Until you finally let that shit out, it is going to weigh on you and weigh on you and weigh on you. And when you do finally let it out, it's not going to go away. And you don't want it to go away. You don't want to lose those memories.
Right.
You may think you do, but you don't. You want to remember why you're still here and why you're doing what you're doing, but you have to let it come out. And like, I'll be quick about this, but when I understood that I really needed to let some shit out was when I was a guy that never cried and never did any of this stuff. I'd be watching like a damn TV commercial and my eyes would start tearing up. And I'm like, what the hell's wrong with me? And and I've talked to a lot of guys and
That's called menopause there, Mac.
Yeah,
Menopause.
no, it wasn't that, but yeah, I am old, but that's what I'm saying. Like you have to understand. And I had to come to terms with the fact that, dude, you know what? I never grieved for these guys. I didn't have time, but realistically I did have time. I just didn't take the time. And as a leader, not on the X is not the place to do it. But when you get back and you got security and everybody, it's okay for you boys to go sit down for a minute and pause and be like, damn, dude, and understand that the next day you got to go out and patrol so something like that don't happen to somebody else.
That's what the team house is for.
Yeah, exactly.
So
brother.
circle back on that. Like that's where you do that, and that's something
Yeah.
that I think that people like you and I have to continue to push, not just for the veteran community, but for the active duty community.
Yeah.
That like those things need to happen. You know, you're on a deployment for, you know, the better part of a year often, and you know, and you're over there, and you know, you're getting your gun on, you're doing all those things. The only time the team gets together, it seems, is to like we go. That's not combat related. Go train. We'll go, you know, throw rounds downrange.
Yeah.
We'll sit in the ops center and we'll, you know, we'll go over, you know, planning and you know, circle up on, you know, do a hot wash of the mission we did the night before. Everything is like mission related, mission related, mission related.
Yeah.
And we don't have, and we do team building stuff, but it's usually not something that's like this, where it's, you know, it involves vulnerability and like grieving. And like, that's what it needs to happen. And that needs to change. That needs to change. And it's like the people that are going to push that message to help those in active duty, I believe that, especially the senior leadership and higher ups, are going to be people like us, because none of them have been veterans yet either. So they don't know, even them. I don't care if you're Sergeant Major of the Army. Like you don't know until you take that uniform off. You know what I mean?
Until you step out, man, you don't understand it. And for those of you guys that are listening to this, we're not saying you just sit there and bawl your eyes out and feel sorry for yourself. What we're saying is you got to take that tactical pause. It's not taking dudes out of the fight. It's taking that tactical pause and understanding that we're human beings, man. If we let this out, if we take this weight off now, then that's less weight we got to carry every day in this damn valley, you know. And that's the hard part for people to understand, man. But you know, I think they'll only give us an hour on live, dude. So we got like 4 minutes. So I don't want to get you cut off.
Let's wrap it up, man. Let's wrap it up with like, let everybody know what, you know, I know you talked about the why of all this, but you know, why you started this, but like, what, I guess I'll ask you, what do you hope every individual takes away from this as you do this through the weeks?
What I hope you guys take away from this, man, is the fact that, you know, even the people that you look up to and think are like, they have their shit together and they're always the guy you look up to. Yeah. Like me, you know, when I was in the Army, high and tight all the time. Like you could talk to my guys. My uniform was always straight. I was a freaking asshole on standards and discipline and blah, blah, blah. And a lot of times guys didn't understand that. But what I want you to take away from this is, yeah, that was me then. But now, it's telling me we got 2 minutes left. But now I can be your friend, man. I'm not a sergeant major anymore. I'm a retired guy with a lot of experience. And I want you to know that it's not just you, man. All of us. I don't care if you're a general, like you said. When you get out, it's going to hit you at some point or time. And I hope that you take away from this that you got guys like me and Nate out there that love you guys and that we're here for you, man. And I ain't going to baby you. If you're whining to me, I'm going to tell you you're whining, you know, but I want you to be real with me. And that's the whole point, man. And I'm just honored that you were on here with me, brother. And thank you. And we got a minute left. So I just want to turn it over to you, man, for that last minute.
Happy to be here, brother. And, you know, for those tuning super, super, super late in the last minute, this is Mac's Man Cave. And it's a place that you know, when we sit around and we huddle up, man, whether we're having beers or coffee or nothing, watching a ball game. This is how, you know, we often talk when it's you know, more of a, I guess, a private moment, you know, not so much a public moment like this. But I think it's important for people in the public to see this, you know, to see people like Mac communicate the way he's communicating, and just being honest and clear and open and vulnerable and real and raw. I mean, because that's who we really are. And you know, we can be Tommy Tough Nuts all day long and you know, and act all badass, and like, you know, there's time and place for that, and that's cool too. But especially during this time, you know, this has been a tough year so far, and we're dealing with a lot of isolation. So just to know that you're never alone, and you've got the man cave. So join up, man. Join the team house, baby.
Well, thanks, brother. And in the coming weeks, we're going to have some more awesome guests, man. So tune in.